Hi everyone. So summer is approaching and I thought this would be the perfect time to teach you how to make a basic ice cream base. So ice cream comes in three popular styles. One is gelato, which is the Italian ice cream. It's mixed differently. The other one is Philadelphia style ice cream. I don't know why it's called Philadelphia versus American, but it is made with milk, cream, sugar, and then flavorings. And then the last but not least, and definitely a favorite at our house, is a French custard style ice cream. So that's what we're gonna learn how to make. It's probably the most difficult, but it's definitely the most luxurious and tasty. So we're going to start. The wonderful thing about making ice cream is you're using simple ingredients. You know what you're putting into it, so you can control sugar and so forth. I have 6 egg yolks in here. I have 1 cup of sugar. I have 3 cups of half and half. And then we're going to add strawberries to it because my family loves strawberry ice cream. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take our half and half and I'm going to put it on the stove, and we want to get it nice and hot. We certainly don't want to burn it, but it is important. Okay, so now that we've got our half and half heating up, let's take our sugar and add them to the egg yolks. We're going to whisk it. You're going to notice when I first start to whisk it, it's a bright orange color. And we're going to whisk this until it becomes a lemony color and it loosens up. This process is called blanching. Blanching essentially, it translates exactly to burning. So we're not essentially burning the sugar, but what we are is we are cooking or dissolving the sugar so it doesn't have that granular texture in our final dish. So you can see already it's turned quite a different color. And now you can see it's pale yellow, but it's still pretty stiff. So we need to whisk it until it loosens up quite a bit. I really like making ice cream at home. One, it's a really fun thing to do with your kids. Jack loves making ice cream because of course he gets to eat it. But the other thing about it is it's a wonderful dessert to serve during the hot summer months. And you can dress it up, you can take whatever fruit you can find in season, and you have a wonderful homemade dessert, and there's nothing like homemade ice cream. So now if you look, you'll see that I can form ribbons with my sugar and egg yolks. I'm going to do it again so you can see. When we put it in, the ribbons fall and then they slowly get incorporated back into the mixture. Okay, once this is done, let me go get that hot half and half and we're going to temper. So what does tempering mean? We're taking 2 ingredients that are at different temperatures. The egg yolks and sugar are cold, and then we're going to take that hot cream and we're going to bring it into 1 temperature. Now, if I dump that half and half right in here, I'm going to have sweet scrambled eggs, so gross. So I have to add it slowly so that I don't scramble the eggs, but instead I begin the cooking process for the eggs. So we're going to start by adding just a small drizzle first of some hot cream. Give it a spin. I like it when the bowl spins around too because it allows the cream to get mixed in more, but if you don't like that feeling, put a wet cloth, dish rag underneath your bowl. So I'm going to add a little bit more, stir it on in. Let's add a little more. There is a certain amount of patience you need to have when you make a custard style ice cream, but it's definitely worth the effort. So there we go. All my hot cream is in my bowl with my egg yolks, and it's warm, but it's not hot. So now we have to cook our custard. So we're going to go to the stove, we're going to put this in a clean pot, and we're going to start slowly stirring it continuously. It takes about 8 to 10 minutes until it gets nice and thick and coats the back of a spoon. So meet me at the stove. So now we are cooking our custard. Like I said, it takes a little bit of time. You certainly want to keep this on a medium-low heat. You don't want to turn it up. I know I'm impatient and I would love to turn it up, but we don't want to cook our eggs. And the key is that we need to cook this to a thickness that is going to help make our ice cream. I always keep a spoon on hand. I use a wooden spoon mainly because I'm a traditionalist and I love wooden spoons. But you want to keep another spoon on hand. A nice tablespoon that you use is perfect because we want it to coat the back of the spoon. So see how drippy that is? And when we run a line through it, it immediately just falls apart. So we are going to cook this until that line it stays nice and steady. So we have to cook the custard until that point. Now, what can you add to your custard and when do you want to add it? Let's chat about that while we're cooking. So we're gonna do fresh strawberries. I highly recommend using fruit when it's in season, and right now strawberries are delicious. So we're going to add them in. You do have the ability to puree them if you want it to be a pink ice cream, or peaches is delicious that way too. I like to see the beautiful slices in the ice cream. So we're going to add them in after we finish cooking our custard. That's also when we're going to use our vanilla. So we're making a very traditional base, vanilla bean ice cream. So vanilla is heat sensitive. And what that means is that when we cook it, when we put it in and it's under heat, we lose some of its potency or its flavor. So whenever you have the ability to add vanilla after something has cooked, absolutely do it. Sometimes you don't have a choice, but when you do have that choice, you'll just get more robust flavor for using less. I like to use a bean paste. So we use this one, and you certainly don't have to buy it by the jug like we do, but we do buy it a really big one. Vanilla bean paste is wonderful because you get those beautiful speckles that you want, and you get a lot of true vanilla flavor, and it doesn't discolor like a vanilla extract would. Absolutely, you can use vanilla extract. You can use a whole bean and steep it in your cream. I will tell you, the one thing that is very important is that you don't use artificial vanilla. Artificial vanilla has a very distinctive taste, and it doesn't do well when it is in, well, honestly, anything. So let's take a look. Let's see where we are. See how our line is holding up and slowly coming together? That's exactly what I want. Let's do it again. But that one didn't even do anything. Nope, still running. So we got a couple more seconds. We're going to keep stirring it as we go. So what are some other wonderful additions to put in your ice cream? If you have leftover cookies or brownies, I don't think that happens very often, but those are wonderful to add in. When you are adding something that you want to leave in chunks, you add it during the churning process. We're going to use a very, very basic home ice cream maker. It's made by Cuisinart. Super simple. It's literally 4 parts, which is great because I have a tendency to lose parts. You have to freeze the bowl, and that's how it has a paddle. I'm going to show you all of that, but I think we are almost there. So let's just take one more look. Let's take a look. See that line? It's holding. Let's do it again. It's funny, my second line doesn't always work as well as my first. But that line is holding really nicely. So we are done with this. What we're going to do now is we are going to pour it through a strainer. I'm going to bring it onto my stove so you can get a good close-up of it. We're going to pour it into the strainer. That way, if we have any cooked custard pieces, they're not going to go into our ice cream. We'll be straining them out. So here we have it, and it is looking beautiful. We're going to add our strawberries in all at once. I've got about 2 cups of strawberries. Add them all in. And then we're going to add about a tablespoon of vanilla to it. So here we go, like a nice big fat drop. There we go. We're going to stir that. And now we're going to put this on an ice bath. We want to start chilling it as soon as possible. So here we have our ice bath. We're going to pop it in and we're going to give it a stir. We want to bring down the temperature as quickly as possible. We have to wait until the custard is completely cold before we can start churning it. We have some in the refrigerator ready to go. An ice bath, as you can see, let me take this out for a second. You can see it. It's 50% ice and 50% water. So it's not 3 cubes of ice and a bunch of water, because that's not going to help us cool this down. So make sure you have a nice good ice bath, and that will help immediately bring the temperature down. And then we're going to pop it in the fridge and let it chill completely. I like to usually do this step the day before that I churning my ice cream, so that it gets completely cold and I don't have to worry about it being even slightly warm when I put it in the ice cream maker. All right, so I mentioned how simple this ice cream maker is. So no more using that hand cranked ice cream maker unless you really want to make someone work for it. You have a base, you have a bowl. The bowl is totally frozen. It needs to be in the freezer at least 1 day prior to making the ice cream. So you do have to plan a little bit. This is our paddle attachment, and then this is the cover. And the cover has this nice little hole on it. So let's pop it in place, lock it in, and then we're going to start it, and then we start to add our ice cream. We don't want to add our ice cream until the machine is moving. And the reason for that being is if we put it in right now, it's going to form a lining on that frozen bowl, and we want it to churn all the way through. It takes about 20 minutes for your ice cream to churn, and once it's done churning, you want to put it into an airtight bowl and put it in the freezer for about 30 minutes so it gets a little bit more solid. It's extremely soft serve when you're eating it straight from the ice cream maker, which is not always a bad thing, but it definitely can do with a 30-minute freezer time. So let's get started. We're going to turn it on. We're going to pour our ice cream and strawberries in. You never want to fill it more than 3/4 of the way full. And then you can see it's just churning away, and it's going to form its beautiful ice cream custard. So our ice cream has now finished churning. So let's pop this off. As I mentioned before, you need to put this in the freezer for about 30 minutes before you can serve it. I mean, unless you want to take this whole bowl and sit down and eat it, which is definitely an option. So we're going to get this off the paddle, and then I like to put them in airtight pint containers. It kind of helps us control how much we eat, but it's also really nice. You can give it as a gift. And it freezes a little faster than if I try to freeze a whole quart at a time. These ice cream machines are designed to make about 1 quart of ice cream. So let's get it into our containers. You'll see it's very soft, but it's got a great creamy texture to it. And after it sits in the freezer for just a little bit, it will be ready to eat. The other lovely thing about these pint containers are they're the perfect size to just label one your own and keep snacking on it. So that's how you make French style, custard style ice cream. I hope you try it. If you enjoyed this dish, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for more tasty recipes. Thanks.